So, Micah Parsons was traded today, and I think it is a shocking move. I think it's a shocking move from the aspect of this is two of the most storied franchises in NFL history doing a deal with each other. And, these are kind of rivals, not division rivals, but I would say rivals in NFL history, Green Bay and Dallas. And the fact that the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, the rest of this front office felt comfortable trading a guy like Micah Parsons to Green Bay, to me, it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem typical of what we see NFL franchises in sports in general. You wouldn't see the Boston Celtics trading a guy like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum to the Los Angeles Lakers. You wouldn't see in the MLB, you wouldn't see the Los Angeles Angels trade Mike Trout to the Seattle Mariners. Or, stuff like that just doesn't happen in sports. Not to mention the fact that Micah Parsons, on the current trajectory that he has been on in terms of his sack totals, and I know it's just a statistic, and I know in Dallas there were no Super Bowls, there were no NFC conference championships, but what they had in Micah Parsons, you compare him to the guys who are the all-time leading sack getters, there's only a couple of guys. It's Richard Dent and it's Reggie White that had more or the same amount of sacks in their first 4 years than Micah Parsons did. Micah had more than DeMarcus Ware. Micah had more than, like I said, any of those top 10 guys in NFL history in their first 4 seasons. And look, 2 first-round picks, that's great. Kenny Clark, he's a really good player, and you fit him in with this defensive line next to Osa Odigizua, next to the rest of the guys that they have in that pass rush. And yes, it fills out that team, I guess. But I don't really see this now as a defensive line that any team is going to fear. And I think you can go as far as to say that the main reason that the Dallas Cowboys defensively have had an above-average squad is because Micah Parsons has been there. When Dak Prescott has been injured on offense, Micah Parsons has still been there. And even in 13 games last year, was far and away the leading sack getter, easily the far and away best pass rusher on this team. And they just traded him away because they didn't want to pay him money. They're paying Dak Prescott the amount of money that they're paying him. They're paying CeeDee Lamb. They're paying Jake Ferguson. They're paying guys. It's not like they're not paying guys. But they don't want to play a guy who has been not only at the top of his game, at the top of everyone's game. There's been 3 pass rushers who have done more than Micah Parsons. It's Myles Garrett, it's TJ Watt, and it's Nick Bosa. In the current NFL, those are the only 3 guys who have done more than Micah since he's entered the league. I think the part that's going to hurt the Cowboys the most is we saw the reaction from all of the teammates of Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys through social media. And they obviously did not like this move, whether they were defensive players, offensive players. And why would you like the move? Again, yes, you're getting Kenny Clark. And I'm sure the defensive guys, they're going to love bringing him in. He's a guy on the interior of the defensive line next to Osa Odigizua. They're going to form a really good duo on that interior of the defensive line. But these guys aren't going to care that the Cowboys now have an extra draft pick in 2026 and 2027. And if anything, the draft picks that Dallas got, I would have rather have gotten multiple seconds and thirds. Everyone loves to get first-round picks, but your team is not built to win with just first-round picks. There's been no team in the NFL that's solely focused on first-round picks and won championships from it. It's your 2nd through 5 round picks that really fill out your team and make your roster really good. And going into this whole ordeal with whether or not Dallas trades Micah, I thought it would be a great idea if they got a first-round pick 2 first-round picks, and lots of other draft capital throughout the draft. But they didn't do that. They got a 30-year-old interior defensive lineman and 2 first-round picks. And to be honest with you, while Dallas has had a good time of drafting guys in the first round along the offensive line, that's about all they do. You go back to 2021, that's the last time that they took a guy that was not a defensive or offensive lineman, and you know who the guy was? It was Micah Parsons in 2021. They took CeeDee Lamb the year before that, and they didn't have a first-round pick before that. But again, since Micah Parsons, it's been all offensive linemen and all defensive linemen. And I think we all like Tyler Guyton. I think we all like Tyler Booker. I think we all like Tyler Smith. But has either Tyler Smith or Tyler Guyton shown that they're really above average quality offensive linemen? I don't necessarily think that. I think where the conversation should shift now to is to Green Bay and how the rest of their roster looks now after getting Micah Parsons. Now, Micah Parsons is joining a pass rusher group filled with other first-round picks like Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt, and Rashawn Gary. Now, Rashawn Gary has been, as of late, an ascending player. But Devontae Wyatt and Lucas Van Ness, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Just being a first-round pick does not make you this great player. But now that you have a great player alongside you, and you have Rashawn Gary, who, if he takes another step, gets towards being a great player himself, you have 2 guys that can pass. They can get after the quarterback almost any time they want. You have 2 other first-round picks who, if they ascend in their own right to becoming really good players, you now have 4 guys. You don't really have to worry about paying because Rashawn Gary is on his contract extension. You gave Micah Parsons his money. Lucas Van Ness has a couple of more years on his rookie deal. Devontae Wyatt has a few more years on his rookie deal. And those last 2 guys I mentioned, again, they haven't produced a lot. So when you're talking about extensions, the number is a lot lower than it would be if they were getting 10-plus sacks a year. And with this defense, I mean, there is a lot of guys that you just love watching play football. Like Xavier McKinney led the NFL in interceptions last year. Nate Hobbs comes over from the Las Vegas Raiders as a really good player. Javon Bullard comes in as a second-year nickelback. It feels like defensively, Green Bay is there now in terms of talking about championship expectations. That pairs really well with the offense, where now you get the wide receiver in the first round in Matthew Golden, and you have him catching passes from Jordan Love. You have Josh Jacobs, who was an incredible addition last year. To me, everything is adding up to Green Bay not just being the NFC North favorite, being the favorite to possibly knock off Philadelphia. This was the first time comparing Philadelphia to any other team in the NFC, where now I feel like Green Bay is an actual threat. I honestly was pretty close to just saying that Philly was going to repeat as NFC champions again this year. I don't see it that way anymore, because now there's a guy where if these 2 teams meet each other in the playoffs, there is an elite pass rusher on the other side of Jalen Hurts. And I know Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata and the rest of this offensive line, but Micah Parsons is a different breed of pass rusher. If Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness and Devontae Wyatt improve to be above average to good defensive pass rushers in the NFL, this is going to be a team that can absolutely wreck a game for the opposing offense. And this, again, like I said, for Green Bay, this is an offense. They have a good offensive line. They have great weapons. They have a really good quarterback. And now it's time to see if everything can come together and actually bring them home a Lombardi trophy.